Hi, welcome back to my channel. We are only about a month away before Donald Trump takes office, and the internet, TikTok, is reacting to leopards eating face. That's the best thing that I could call it. Leopards are out and regret is setting in. But first, hi, I'm Allicia IE, Allicia J, the walking, talking baby doll, and hopefully I'm here to give you a good day or a better day. Okay? So we're just going to get right into the video, but before I start the video, it's very much looking like if things don't change by midnight tonight, then there's going to be a government shutdown. People who are on assistance, I just want to warn you right now, try to get your ducks in a row, figure out where you're going to get money from, figure out what you're going to do if you don't get your checks in the beginning of the month. Times are hard, and I just want you to be prepared for what's coming.
Government workers, and government workers only, specifically the ones that voted for Donald Trump. You like it? Do you? Because of the person that you voted for, there's a very good chance that the government's going to shut down tomorrow. Today's Thursday. And right before Christmas. So no paychecks for you guys. And then if you plan on traveling, the TSA is a government job, just letting you know that off rip. And it's a shame because there's so many government workers that didn't vote for that piece of shit that are going to suffer, but that's kind of like where we all are in the basket here. We're all going to suffer for your stupidity, for your absolute ignorance, and racism, and transphobia, and homophobia, and everything in between. We're going to suffer because of you all. Donald Trump, there was literally a fucking bill that was bipartisan that was ready to pass, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who's not even a fucking American citizen, said, no, kill that bill. I was on active duty the first time when the government shut down. I think it was like 2010 or 11 or something like that. And we ended up getting the rest of our paychecks, but we didn't get paid the day we were supposed to, and it was a waiting game. Donald Trump says he wants the government to shut down until he's inaugurated. That's January 20th, folks. So I hope you have enough savings. Hopefully you guys have already went out and bought all your Christmas gifts, because this rodeo is about to get even more wicked than it already is. And you can thank yourselves for that. Good day.
Hey y'all, it's me all in good fun, but I'm not going to be very good fun today. This is my first video in a series called FAFO. You effed around, now you're going to find out. And I want to talk about what you're going to find out during the months and years ahead of the Trump presidency. First thing you're going to find out is the President of the United States does not control grocery prices. That's determined by distributors who bring food to market. And they get the food from farms. And those farms, well, they employ undocumented immigrants and migrant farm workers, and they pay them pretty low wages, but those hard-working people are glad to have that money to send home to provide for their families. Well, once those people all get rounded up and deported, well, these farms are going to have to hire white people and pay them at least a minimum wage. This is going to cost the farms a lot more money, so they're going to have to raise the price of products. What's even worse, a lot of these people, they've had farms in their family for decades. Some of these farms, they're going to go out of business because they won't be able to compete with the large farms that are subsidized by the United States government. So not only are you not getting lower prices, but you're putting your neighbors out of business. Oops. Anyway, stay tuned for my next, in this series, I'm going to be talking about healthcare and hurricanes. Have a great day, y'all.
We assign an open book test, and you still get students that fail. I know I said I was done making videos like this, but I just had a moment about a half hour that I need to share with you guys. The irony of this is I just shared not too long ago a video of someone who had like a moment where they had a conversation with someone who voted for Trump, and they had like their moment of awakening, right? Like, oh no, I might have made a mistake. Well, folks, I just had mine. So for some context, I work for an education company, so I work with people all over the United States. And after the election, my company posted on our channel that we used to communicate with. They said, thank you for everybody who got out and exercised their right to vote, yada yada. And you could tell, it was very, very easy to tell who voted for who based on how you reacted to this post. And I have to say, I was a little shocked when I saw this specific person react happily to this post, because this person that I no longer work closely with because of just reassignments, this specific person that I'm going to be referring to lives in Oklahoma. So it's been about 2 weeks since the election, and this person reached out to me this morning, and they said, hey, I have a question. You used to sit in IEP meetings and you experienced with IEPs from your time in the classroom, right? I said, yeah. I've experienced in Ohio with IEPs. They do differ by state, but I can help, what's up? So this person continues to tell me that they just got out of their son's IEP meeting. Now their son's supposed to receive services next year. He's only in 2nd grade. And they go, is it really something that they can do? Like they can deny my son's services? They're saying that they might not have services next year. If you've been following anything in the media lately, you are going to get there before I get there. And I said, well, legally, no. If your son has services in writing, an IEP is a legal document and it protects your son's rights. So no, it's not legal. However, if they don't provide the services and we get rid of said department that pushes those services, you no longer have the obligation, or the school no longer has the obligation to provide those services because they no longer have the department that provides them. They continue to say, well, I don't understand how they can do that. Like, he's supposed to receive services. They're saying they might not even have a department next year. And then they're also saying that they spent a ton of money on new literature for next year. That caught my attention. So I said, well, what literature? I know what literature, but I want to know what they have to say. And then they say, well, some sort of literature for like Western civilization courses. And you mean the Bibles that Oklahoma just sent to all of their schools, that schools are going to receive money for if they actually implement them? That literature? I just sat there, like, jaw on the floor. I could not believe that I was actually experiencing this in real life. Like, I've seen plenty of, like, people are calling it, like, the F around and find out moments that people are having now that they are actually seeing what's going to be happening now that Trump has been voted in. And I didn't think I'd actually experienced one firsthand. Like, I have to say, it's a bittersweet feeling, because to see the ignorance of somebody, like, suffer the consequences of their said actions, that student is still going to suffer because the services that they need are not going to be available to them next year. Because why were people so, like, floored that when Trump said he was going to defund the Department of Education, which, by the way, this woman is probably going to run. If you don't recognize her, turn on the wrestling channel. Apparently, she's associated with that. I just want to be alive for the day that we actually put somebody in this position that knows what the F they're doing. This is how teachers feel when we assign an open book test and you still get students that fail. People had months, years even, with this man to study for the test. The test is voting day. How are you going to have years of time to have an open book test and still fail the test? How? How are people floored that Obamacare is the same thing as the Affordable Care Act? Why are people astonished that grocery prices are actually going to go up, and they already are starting to, before if they even go down? How are people, like, mind blown when they're reading articles about deportation happening to people that they actually love and care about in their lives? The privilege to not care and not do proper research and not figure out what the heck is going on in your own country is really about to bite some people. And unfortunately, like in my example, it's not just going to be the voters that pay for it. It's going to be our kids. It's going to be our students. It's going to be the people that we don't even realize are going to be impacted by this. And I'm just like, those Bibles, though.
I think that people are finally realizing, well, slowly realizing. It's still some people who are reluctant to figuring it out, but they're not going to understand until it affects them. And now it's affecting tons of people, and they thought that it was just going to be a couple of areas here or there, but no, it's shifting our entire North American society pretty much.
Holy moly. Well, all right, Joe Biden, listen. I have this stash account. I don't know much about how to operate this stash account. I opened up this stash account with $50, okay, a couple of years ago. And I did all of what I needed to do to set it up. Chose the options that I wanted. And I haven't really looked at this stash account. I haven't. I have not looked at this stash account. Maybe it was more than a couple of years ago. Maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago. I haven't done anything. I've done the bare minimum. And I'm looking at this stash account and I'm like, well, all right, Joe Biden. But listen, that's not why we're here. This is why we're here. Their president killed the funding bill yesterday. And then him and his vice president, Donald Trump, they presented their own bill. And then the Republicans voted against that bill. So now there's currently no bill, no continuing resolution that will keep the government open. If there's nothing put into place by midnight tonight, the government will shut down. Elect a clown, you get a fucking circus. But I want to talk about some of the things. I want you all to know some of the things that was in the original bill that President Musk and Vice President Donald Trump, that they killed. Okay? So, first and foremost, what was included in that bill was all of the funding needed to keep the government running, meaning Social Security recipients will continue to get their money, their benefits, their resources needed to continue to live, right? Our military personnel will continue to get paid. Our federal employees will continue to get paid, right? Those types of things are given with the bill. But in addition to that, what was included in the bill was $100 billion, which was slated for disaster relief, okay? And 29 billion of that 100 billion was going to go to funding up FEMA, because remember, we briefly talked about it, how Republicans have been slowly trying to snuff out FEMA, which helps those who are out in the world, not in the world, in the United States, here in the United States, who are dealing with some type of hardship as a result of natural disasters. We can talk about Hurricane Helene and Milton, right? They totally destroyed some areas out in the Carolinas and in Florida, right? And we've been getting these storms, fast and furious. They've been coming more frequently, and they've been more destructive, which is why funding needs to continuously happen for our FEMA division, department, however you want to call it. So 29 billion was slated for FEMA. Okay, and FEMA covers all types of natural disasters, to hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, all of that jazz. Okay, and 2.2 billion was going to help Small Business Administration and their disaster relief fund. Okay, and then 21 billion was going to go towards farmers, disaster relief for farmers. Okay, and then 3.5 billion was going to go for state and tribal assistance, right? They need some assistance with the repair of their water systems, which were damaged by said disasters, storms, floods, tornadoes, that type of thing. Okay, and then there was going to be 8 billion slated for the repair of roads, federal roads and federal highways. That was a part of the continuing resolution. Okay, in addition to that, there was funding in that continuing resolution that will go to telehealth services. There was this telehealth program that was put together as a result of COVID-19, the pandemic, right? And so there was funding available to continue that type of program because that program was being used by our disabled population and our elderly population. In addition to those two communities, individuals who live in rural areas were able to take advantage of this program. You know, you call up your doctor, you set up an appointment. Instead of having to go into the doctor's office, you log in to your doctor's office by way of computer screen. If you're sick, you discuss your symptoms, all of that jazz. You have a full doctor's appointment by way of computer screen. And that helped our disabled population who find it difficult to get from A to point B to point C. It was beneficial for our elderly population, who are immunocompromised population who can't be in large crowds, or back to the senior population who don't have transportation to get to and from doctor's offices like that. Not everybody can afford a private nurse or a home health aide to help them to get to these types of appointments. And so Joe Biden created this telehealth program when he took over for the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and it helped these individuals. Funding to continue to extend that program was included in this continuing resolution. Funding to help research for kids with cancer. Yeah, Elon Musk and Donald Trump rose up to kill this bill that included funding for research for kids with cancer and some other type of program benefits to help and assist kids with cancer. Now, the continuing resolution included other things like funding to assist Baltimore to repair that bridge that was torn down. Y'all remember, maybe about a year ago, if that long. Yeah, some funding went to help with that. And yeah, funding was put aside to provide congressmen and women with raises. Why? Y'all can't get shit done. How are y'all giving y'all self a raise and denying the increase of the minimum wage for everyday Americans? How are y'all doing that? Anyway, you elect a clown, you get a circus. The hits just keep on coming. Musk told Trump that he didn't like the bill, so Trump went on Fox and said that he doesn't support it. So now the provisions to help the storm victims and the farmers will be stripped out before the House votes for a continuing resolution. The storm victims and the farmers all voted for Trump, so now they can enjoy getting what they voted for. Elections have consequences.
There are a lot of consequences to come, and I can't wait to see the reactions of people who get on and willfully admit that they were wrong and they made the wrong vote. But yeah, it sucks that the good has to suffer with the bad. Like, we all used to hear our teachers say that, and I swear to God, every time I used to hear my teachers say that, in my mind I could just visualize myself rolling my eyes as far back to in the back of my head as I could, because it's insane that we have to suffer with these people.
And today we have an example of fuck around and find out on a micro level instead of a macro level. There is a notorious Trump supporter that lives in my apartment building, and I've never been a fan. but I have always ignored him. I've heard all kinds of stories of some of the things that he has said to some of the other residents in the building, particularly women. And one of my neighbors has repeatedly asked me to walk her home because she has to go past this guy's porch, his deck, his outside patio. And he'll say things to her. So she's always like, can you just walk me home? Just walk me to my door so I can get past this guy's patio so he won't talk to me. So he's already established himself as a menace. He was walking around with his MAGA hat all summer long. Not a fan. He's largely left me alone because I'm giving him the chilliest fuck you vibes that I can muster. Today I'm outside walking my dog, and as luck would have it, he is approaching us on the path. We're going in opposite directions, so we're about to pass each other. So I am, ironically, playing Defying Gravity on my phone, having just seen Wicked last night. Just listening to my music, walking my dog, minding my business, just about to pass this guy. And he says, "Hi there." And I just keep walking, totally ignore him. And he didn't like that. So he decides to follow it up with, "What's the matter? You don't like me?" Listen, sir, we were coexisting. I was being civil in the face of all the comments that you have made about the women that live in this building, in the face of my friend and neighbor asking me to escort her home past you so that you would not harass her. And I have shown great restraint in not saying anything to you up until today. So you're gonna fuck around? Now you're gonna find out. So he says, "What's the matter? You don't like me?" And I stopped. I made strong, cold eye contact. And I said, "I am not interested in getting to know you because from everything that I have seen and heard, I am certain that I would not like you." And then I cranked Defying Gravity and I walked away. I didn't stick around to give him a chance to reply. I'm not interested in a conversation. A few years ago, I would have played the game, right? The game that all women know. Oh, I would have laughed and smiled and said something stupid or silly to diffuse the situation, to massage this guy's ego, to placate him. "Oh, no, I'm tired or I'm busy or, of course I like you. Why wouldn't I? Oh, you have such a cute dog," some bullshit. But I'm not playing by the patriarchal rules anymore. I'm done. Fuck it. In the words of Cynthia Erivo, something has changed within me. You fuck around, now you're gonna find out.
Because who else is going to make them feel as stupid as they are? Who? Being a menace is life-giving, okay? It fills my soul with an eye-rolling joy rivaled by only one thing, okay? As a straight white female, I am just privileged enough to be extremely problematic. I am becoming a professional instigator. I honestly didn't know that ruining their Marmalade Messiah fanfiction would be this fun. If they want to worship a little fat man in Depends, then I'm going to grab them by the wampus ween, and the more they squirm, the harder I'm going to squeeze. If they're not red in the face defending their 80-year-old Cheeto man, then I'm not working hard enough. I'm not here to make warm family memories. I'm here to make them feel as uncomfortable as they've been making others feel for the last 8 years. I'm not ruining the holidays. I'm just fact-checking their MAGA fantasies and calling out their wild hypocrisies. Every time they quote Fox News, I choose violence. I might as well feed my cold, dark heart with their discomfort and shock. Their cognitive dissonance is my love language. Their discomfort is foreplay, and I haven't finished yet.
Look, every 2 to 3 days, I have to take a break, a hiatus from the news, and I did. I popped the TV on tonight, and this man, Doug Ford, I guess he's the Prime Minister of Canada. Doug Ford ain't playing with Trump. I guess we done fucked around and found out, because he said it is a fact that come January 20th or around January 20th, if he sees any tariffs, that he will definitely pop down to New York, Michigan, Wisconsin, and he will cut off all the power, that they will be in the dark. I didn't even know Canada had power to cut our power off. I can't take 2 days off without something happening. Doug Ford ain't playing. He is the Prime Minister of Canada. He said Trump can fuck around and find out and put some tariffs on Canada if he wants to. But New York and Michigan will be the first people to be lights out. OMG. And he said it's a fact that it will happen. It is a fact that it will happen. Let's see if Trump is really going to fuck around and find out with him. And let's see. I can't get a break. I just want to make TikTok dances.
Yeah, if you definitely need to take a mental health break from this stuff, definitely don't look into it, but figure out the ways that it's going to affect you sooner than later. But other than that, I mean, women, you know, for a while I haven't been trying to be like a black woman that supports everything and everybody and not getting anything in return. And now that I think women have really seen the results of all these things, they're coming to a complete senses of like what's the next step, and it's changing the attitudes in women. And I'm happy that sooner than later, but never late is better.
So obviously I am a middle-aged living in suburban America. I make a good living. My husband makes a good living. And because of my outrage at the election and the fact that we've nominated and put up for a second term a convicted felon and rapist, they've asked me, like, what am I going to do? In the long term, honestly, I haven't figured it out yet. But in the short term, I know that I can do several things that make me feel like I'm in control, at least a little bit. The first thing is I was turned on to an app by my good friend on this app, Baxter. She pointed me in the direction of Goods Unite Us. This is an app that tells you all companies and their affiliations and how they donate their money politically. I, from now on, will be living for this app. Any companies that are donating to all red, donations, whether that's down to the ballot, local, up to presidential. If they're donating to Republicans, I'm not buying your product. So that's the first thing I'm doing. I'm controlling my spending and basically putting it in areas where I know that those people aren't actively voting against me, other women like me, women that are Black women, Latina women, anybody identifying as a woman, trans, gay, lesbian, all of us marginalized, I guess, groups. And I know that those people are going to be affected by the next 4 years in far greater numbers than myself. I am aware. However, I'm going to use my white lady privilege to do whatever I can to help, because I voted for her, not for him. The second thing that I know that I can do is I am not going to donate my time, my efforts, or any goods to charities that will benefit people that voted against me and those marginalized groups. So I will be focusing my attention this holiday season to women, girls, gays, trans, lesbians, whoever those marginalized groups are that need help. I will be aiming my efforts in that direction. And the third thing I'm going to do is I am not giving MAGA any more air. If they are fire, I am water. We will cancel each other out. I have no interest in speaking or debating with you. There's really nothing to talk about. This is your FAFO era. You guys, this is what you wanted, and unfortunately, this is what you're going to get. I don't think you were well informed, but this is on you. Best of luck.
Question. So all of y'all that voted for Trump because you wanted to get rid of Obamacare, did you think he was replacing it with Trump Care or the Non-Affordable Care Act, which is the same thing? Quickly. Let me go call the doctor.
And there's this guy in front of me who's all decked out in his MAGA gear. The one with the daddy's home, with the fist in the air. Anyway, he's there with his MAGA hat on and his Trump shirt, and he's getting his prescriptions. So the lady behind the counter that's helping him lets him know, sir, I've noticed that you have TRICARE as your insurance, and I'm just letting you know you should be getting a letter in the mail that we are no longer going to be contracted through them at the end of this month. He said, what do you mean? We got Selfridge right down the road. What do you mean you ain't going to be contracted through no veterans insurance? And she said, sir, there are a whole lot of administrative changes that are going to be going on, and Walgreens, the company, is unsure of what contracts through the VA, what contracts for the military are going to be revised or pulled. She says, now, I'm sure there are other pharmacies such as CVS or mail-in pharmacies such as Express Scripts that will still honor your insurance. But as far as Walgreens, we will not. And boy, did this man get so mad. He didn't understand what was going on. So she broke down to him what was happening. She's like, he's talking about getting rid of VA hospitals. He's getting rid of possibly disability for veterans, or putting a 10-year max cap on that. And it's going to be an extremely hard process to even be approved for that. So this guy, he's just like staring at her, and he goes, well, shit, I don't know what I'm going to do. He said, the only thing that I live off of right now is my VA and my Social Security. And she just kind of looked at him, and I looked at him, and I said, they're going to be taking your Social Security too. And I looked down at his shirt, and I looked back up at him, and I said, from one veteran to another, Daddy doesn't give a fuck if you have your medicine or not. He really doesn't. He doesn't care that you served. He deferred his freaking draft 4 times because his feet hurt. I mean, what do you expect from the guy? Well, Republicans are supposed to be all about their military. I said, this is not about Republicans and Democrats, sir. There's Republicans, there's Democrats, and then there's MAGA. And I said, and unfortunately, you're all a part of the MAGA. I said, hey, you voted for him. You fucked around, and now you're going to find out. And I kind of feel bad because his face was just so like this was the first time he ever heard this. This was the first time he was ever hearing that as a veteran, his benefits, his security is being threatened, that his Social Security is being threatened. Like, where the fuck are these people staying? Where are they at? Like, living under a rock? I don't get it. But anyway, that's my story.
You know, at the end of the day, with all of MAGA figuratively shoving our nose in our own shit like we're dogs in order to feel superior about Trump winning the election, I actually pity this man that she's talking about. And here's the thing. We have no idea what's going to happen. And I'm a veteran. My parents are veterans. I'm a military brat through and through. And now veterans' options are going to be severely limited, as if vets don't have hard enough time already. There's a lot of consequence that comes from the results of elections and the words that comes out of politicians' mouths during these elections. It kind of reminds me of this debate I was having with somebody recently who was saying, don't worry about mass deportations. That's not going to happen. He doesn't have the power to do that. It was just a ploy. It was a talking point or whatever. Well, that remains to be seen. And beyond that, he appears to be doubling down. It's going to have massive implications for our economy. And even if that never happened, which it's looking like it is, just the fact that it has been used as a part of his political strategy is going to have, it has had demonstrable consequences in our communities. The same way that his Project 2025 initiative that he pretended to not know anything about and everyone looked the other way is going to have massive implications. If I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I've said it thrice. Having zero scope of what your iconic billionaire leader is proposing in his policies simply because he loathes the same groups of people that you do is the ultimate fuck around and find out karma that you are about to receive.
Welcome to today's segment of F Around and Find Out. I've shared with you guys that I live in a predominantly white, ultra-conservative community that most would consider Trump country. I also shared that many of my friends are business owners, mostly in the trades such as floor contractors, roofing contractors. However, the vast majority of their skilled labor are immigrants, undocumented immigrants on top of that. If you remember correctly, I previously shared that my friend had called and said that he didn't believe that Trump and immigration were going to deport the immigrants who were out here working hard and taking care of their families. He felt like that they were only going to deport the immigrants who were committing crimes. And I shared with him, this is why it's important that people actually do their homework. Don't just read headlines or just trust everything that Trump says. Trump loves to tell everybody that it's all fake news. We can trust no one but him. When in reality, if you let Trump control the narrative, you would believe that there are millions of undocumented immigrants in the United States of America that are out here committing crimes, violent crimes at that. When in reality, less than 5% of undocumented immigrants have committed crimes in the last 40 years, and less than 1% actually commit violent crimes. Anyway, my friend had a metal roof install that needed to get done. They needed to meet a deadline for a particular client. Unfortunately, when they got to the job site, none of their roof installers were actually there. Know why they weren't at the job site? Because they were being picked up by ICE at the gas station down the road where they go every morning to fuel up and get prepared for the day's work. So of course I asked him, what are you gonna do now? He's like, we have no idea. We're calling an emergency meeting now to see who we can hire to come do the job. I said, well, bud, I hate to tell you so, but the vast majority of people in our community think I'm some radical, woke, leftist, sheep, beta, soy boy. And the truth is, honestly, I don't even give a fuck anymore. I hope every last one of their businesses crumble to the ground. And I can promise you, the gringos in our communities aren't learning these skilled trades. Too many of them out there doing confetti to even think about learning how to do any of these jobs. And my other friend said, you'd have to pay me $500 to $1,000 a day to do that job. I said, good luck with that. Y'all are officially effing around and finding out.
If you haven't, definitely check out and download Goods Unite Us. It's a really good app, and it does give you a way to fight back. We could see that people only thought that it was going to affect immigrants and all this type of stuff, but no, it's affecting veterans, it's affecting our school system, it's affecting groceries, inflation even more, so even breaking families apart.
I voted for Trump. Not me, the person I'm reading. My wife sent me divorce papers. What do? I didn't even know it was possible to be served divorce papers this quickly. Oh yeah, no, it's instantaneous. Yeah, especially if you're doing the service. Okay. I don't even know what to say. I'm shocked I married somebody willing to throw away our entire life over politics. Says the man who threw their entire life away over politics. Okay. Last week we were happy, today we're getting divorced. She won't have a discussion. She says nothing will change her mind. Good girl. Insists she is going to report my parents because they live off disability, but my dad does some cash work, auto labor, so now I'm worried for my wild family. Yeah? May you get everything you voted for. If she can report your parents for living off disability, then who's she reporting them to? The guys that want to get rid of people on disability. Okay. She wants me to buy her out of the house. We have $300K in it, plus built a 4-bay garage since we bought it 3 years ago. I can't afford that. When I told her this, as she was packing her things, she said, quote, I guess you're finally going to really know how it feels to be fucked by a Democrat. End quote. Sister got so mad, and I am here for it. Her name is on the deed, but not on the mortgage. I'm not confident that I can reason with her. What do I do? Where do I start? How do I fix this? Is anyone else experiencing this in the wake of the election results? She thought you had her back and you did it, bro. That's why her marriage ended. Fuck around, find out. Yeah, what happened was she realized that you, sir, are not safe. What do you do to fix this? You ask her, what is it you want me to know? And you let her tell you everything she wants you to know. And then you sit and think about it and you absorb it and you ask yourself the one question you've never asked yourself, what if I'm wrong? And you listen to the person you chose as a lifelong partner. And you really empathize with her and you hear how upset she is and you trust her judgment. That's how you fix it. But methinks there's been a long history here. Or she wouldn't all of a sudden jump up and do this. We were happy last week, sir? No. I think you were happy. And she was doing a lot of free fucking labor. I know this isn't an are you the asshole, but boy, are you the asshole. No one is ending their relationships with you over politics. They're ending their relationships with you over the fact that you won't respect their bodily autonomy or civil liberties. Oh no, I've got another one for you. You definitely need another one for today. No, I've got another one for you. Oh no, of course I do. Because you really need this today. You need this. You need this in your life. My kids won't come to Thanksgiving or Christmas. I know. This is fake. I'm a troll. This never happened. Blah, blah, blah. This is 100% true. Oh, sweetheart, I believe you. I have 2 daughters that are both in college. We have a family group chat with my parents, all of my siblings, and all the grandchildren. My parents and siblings are all Trump voters and supporters and are not shy about it. Most family gatherings will devolve into arguing between them and myself. I grew up in this shit show. My kids did not. After the election, my kids silently left the group chat. My mother and sisters are trying to plan Thanksgiving through the chat. When my mother noticed my daughters left, she called to ask me why. I told her they are grown adults and she would need to ask them, so she did. Oh, I bet that didn't go well. One of my 2 daughters is a lesbian. I was right. When my mother asked the 2 girls, they told my mom that they would no longer be attending any family functions, including Christmas and Thanksgiving. This created a shit show on an epic scale in the family chat. My mother tried to explain to my kids that their vote had nothing to do with them. Yes, it does. How do you not see this? The one thing that you can do to impact other people's lives and you think it has nothing to do with your character? What the fuck are you smoking, bitch? My eldest explained that they expose their character and they were raised not to engage with people that condone rape, lying, or cheating. Good on you, kids. This is a case of a mother being a better parent than her parents. Okay, yes. She told my mother that your votes will directly impact our lives in a negative way and you guys did not care. You chose a politician's hollow words over your own grandchildren. There was more, and I'm paraphrasing. I bet there was a lot of swearing in there. My parents and siblings are furious. I think it's important to say that I pay for both of my kids' college, their health insurance, car insurance, food, and gas. I pay for airfare when they come home. They don't work. My deal with them was if they went to school and got good grades, I would pay if I could. My mother wants me to cut them off until they come home to Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm sorry, what, Granny? What did you just say? You selfish, narcissistic fuck. I said no. I have my kids back and they are adults. I will not force them to make a choice they don't want to make. My siblings are saying I'm an asshole and I'm dividing the family. I honestly never thought I'd be in this insane situation, but here we are. See, the first time when you made this choice, we were tempted to believe it was a mistake and we were going to give you a second chance. But you did it again. This time, you knew what was coming. So whatever you get, well, we're going to laugh at. And no. We're fresh out of going to Christmas and Thanksgiving. We're fresh out of turning a blind eye to your vote. We're fresh out of that bullshit. You guys want another one? Yeah, you do. You know you do. Benny Johnson. I don't know if you know him. He's a far right wing. Yeah, he's a fucking podcaster. It is my honor to inform you all that Project 2025 was real the whole time. American flag emoji. In reply, Peggy Nicholson says, better leave my son out of this. He's gay, but don't believe in the trans thing or changing any male parts. He voted for Trump, and I'm hoping this Project 2025 doesn't mess with my son. He don't partake in the LGBTQ+. He just wants to be left alone. Oh, sweetheart. You sweet, sweet summer child. Guess what? If he's gay, he's in the LGBTQ thing. The G in there's for gay. You stupid bitch. Now, come on, one more. Matt Walsh tweeted, now that the election's over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually, Project 2025 is the agenda. LOL. Here we go. I'm black. I just got into politics this year. I leans to the Republican thinking Trump doesn't want Project 2025. I love Matt Walsh, and I really hope he's joking. That shit is kind of scary for people like me, bro. Oh, really? How come you weren't scared when we were all warning you about it? I told you so! Guys, it's real simple. When your opinions include depriving people of rights and freedoms and movement and opportunity, they are no longer opinions, they are threats. Just absorb that. Just live with it for a little bit. See, because the ones that you thought you were hurting have already been through some really terrible shit. We're used to it. We know exactly what this road looks like. We're not afraid of it. But we know you have no idea. So we're going to laugh. This is the find out phase, and we are going to laugh at you. If we burn, you burn with us.
The crazy part is, if I was them, I wouldn't even get on a forum, even if it was anonymous, and say that those kind of things and admit that I was wrong. But I guess they want to. I think it's ridiculous that you were warned for a very, very, very long fucking time of the possibilities to come and you still voted him.
Hey, I'm not MAGA, don't scroll. I just met with another contractor at a client's house. and decided to test the waters to see what side they're on, because of course I am very interested to know who is undercover MAGA. I've interacted with this person dozens of times before, but I realized I had no idea what their political or moral leanings were at this point. And so as a sort of tester, I asked, hey, are you getting ready to buy any new equipment right now? Gonna make a dash to try and get it in there before the tariffs hit? And they looked me dead in the face and said, what tariffs? And I knew right away exactly where this conversation was going. And so I started explaining exactly what tariffs I was talking about. And they got this expression on their face of just mistrust is the best way I can describe it. And they just kept saying, well, I guess we'll see. Well, I guess we'll see. And I'm like, no, we're already seeing. You don't understand. You know, we buy a significant amount of products from Lowe's, and they have already said that in response to these tariffs, we are raising prices. This is happening. And they just kept saying, I guess we'll see. And then we also stumbled onto the subject of, what about laborers? You know, I know that drywall crew that you use all the time is pretty much all Hispanic guys. Like, aren't you concerned that a lot of the people doing a lot of these jobs, a lot of your subcontractors are going to start, you know, getting the hell out of Dodge because they don't want to deal with Trump's, you know, horrific immigration policies? And I kid you not, they looked at me and said, I don't care if they round them all up and pew them in the back of the head as long as they're gone. And obviously, I'll never work with this person again because I can never look at them the same. But just the unmitigated cruelty and disregard for human life that this person showed towards a group of people, like, those are human beings. And I realized, like, yeah, they literally do not see them as human beings, and they do not care, and the level of hate is that high.
So get ready for house prices to go up. Yeah. Get ready for any kind of repairs that you may want to do in your property, any kind of renovating, any kind of, you know, upgrading that you want to do in your property to be more expensive. Get ready for your rents to go up. Yeah. Because if we are going to have an increase on our tariffs, it's going to have a significant impact on almost everything that we ever have to spend money on. And politics aside, the math is just the math, right? So everyone just has to start preparing for what you need to do to create a better situation for yourself. So if you're looking to purchase a property and you are able to, I suggest you move forward with doing that. If you are, for example, thinking about upgrading your roof, upgrading anything in your property, obviously it's all going to cost money. It's ideal that you go ahead and do that now. And I'll explain to you why. It's been proposed by the president-elect that he wants to raise tariffs to approximately 40 to 60%. He says that that is an effort on his part to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Now, that's very difficult to do because, one, it's significantly cheaper to manufacture certain products in other countries. Not only that, they've had years of a jumpstart over the United States, right? They have also a significant amount of people available to do the work that needs to be done to produce the raw materials, the inputs that we need in order to produce certain products here in the United States. So even though we do manufacture some things here, there's always some raw material somewhere that we just do not do here. We do not even grow cotton here. Like, I don't even know if we do any at all, but I doubt we do any enough to be able to have materials to make clothes. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because we are looking at new construction being even more expensive than it is right now. It's going to definitely push out a lot of people that already are struggling to afford to buy certain things, certain homes. They're not going to be able to afford what's to come. It's going to be outrageous. I really feel like this is going to have a significant impact on our country altogether if this is really done. A part of me doesn't believe it's going to happen, but you know, you have to prepare regardless of how you feel, because economically it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't make the rules, so we have to adjust. So if you're in a position where you want to purchase, go ahead and do that, especially if it's new construction. But don't think that the traditional properties, the ones that are on the market now, are going to just sit around and not be people are going to now shift. The housing market right now, we need about 1 million homes to satisfy the housing demand. And as you all know, during 2020, 2021, 2022, when we had that huge pandemic, it had a significant impact on the cost of goods, raw materials to build these homes. So obviously prices went up. There's a lot of things that happened during that time that influenced the cost of homes. And these home prices have not adjusted a lot, you know, if any. Take my word for it, okay? So with that being said, when these tariffs are implemented, and as you know, tariffs are paid by the people that are getting goods imported to them here in the US. It's not paid by the international companies. They're going to have to offset that expense over to us. I hope you all are paying attention and kind of seeing how this all works, because I think a lot of people are unaware of the actual details of these new rules that are going to be implemented, whatever we want to call it, right? So at the end of the day, no one is going to be escaping. You're not going to be able to escape what's to come. If it's implemented, it's going to affect everyone. It doesn't matter if you're at the top, bottom, left, right. Everyone's going to pay the price. And with that happening, you have to prepare. You can't just wait for the roof to fall in on you. You got to do something about it. So I'm just putting out this PSA for you right now. If you are thinking about buying a property, do it now. If you're thinking about selling and relocating to another location, do it now so that you can do it while it's affordable. If you're renting, just get ready for rents to go up, because landlords are going to be subject to expenses and they're going to just offset it off to you. That's just how it works. This is basic economics, guys. I think if you understand economics, you understand. So anyway, educate yourselves. Let's all start looking at how we're going to manage ourselves over the next few years if things turn over the way that it's expected to on January 20th. Because at the end of the day, regardless of who you voted for, we're all under the same, we're living in the same country. We're living in the same country. We're subject to the same rules, and whatever the economy is going to look like with all of these changes, we're all going to be subject to that. So we all have to prepare and get ready for what's to come. And the people that are going to probably suffer the most, not exclusively, obviously other people will suffer too, but people who are naive are going to suffer a lot, because if you have this I'm waiting for a miracle mindset, it's going to sting even more. So just get prepared.
Yeah, I've even told a couple of people to make some major purchases before, the 19th of January, because, it's just like, you really don't know what's going to happen at this point. But the best thing to do is stay prepared the best that you can. Don't, flip out. Don't let this make you crash. But just stay prepared as best as you can. Spend your money wisely and know what you're doing out here. Don't be naive.
Baby, this is not a viral story, but it is a story that I must bring to you nonetheless, because not a lot of people are talking about it. There's only one person that I saw talking about this, and that is Michael Popak from the Midas Touch. And it's a story that I have to bring to you. I think you all would very much enjoy this story. So we all know that Joe Biden is currently in a lame duck session right now. He's not going to get any laws passed, any policy passed. He's not going to be able to get any of that done. So he's just, winding down, tying up loose ends, trying to get some additional judges confirmed for the bench. But Dark Brandon has stepped into the ring. While Joe Biden is doing the work, tying up his presidency and his political legacy, Dark Brandon is out here being shady and messy. And I love it. Okay, so y'all remember during Donald Trump's first presidency, it was build the wall, Mexico's going to pay for it. Y'all remember that. And when he got into the presidency, he wasn't able to get all of the funding needed in order to build this lavish wall that he envisioned. But, through some wheeling and dealing and some other negotiations with other policies and things like that, he was able to get some funding. And with that funding, he built a small portion of the wall. And do I have to say that Mexico didn't pay for it? Us taxpayers paid for it. And it wasn't miles and miles and miles of wall. It was a small portion of a wall. Now, he took credit of some funding where there was other portions of the wall built, but that had nothing to do with Donald Trump or his presidency. He had a small portion of a wall built, okay? And Dark Brandon stepped into the Oval Office and said, yeah, let's knock that shit down. Dark Brandon has disassembled the wall that Donald Trump had done, and he's auctioning off the steel from those pieces that he had disassembled. And the auction starts at $5. I ain't lying. Michael Popak had video, so I'm going to share the video with y'all. just tickles me. Dark Brandon says, shit, we going out of here with a bang. He was like, let's take all of this shit down. Because the Trump administration, the new Trump administration, was anticipating using defense. I don't know if it was for political purposes or if they were intending on building onto the wall. But baby, if they're going to do anything with that wall, they're going to have to start from scratch. And when I say start from scratch, they are going to have to start all over with new legislation to try to get funding to build this wall. And that video has gone viral over there in MAGA world, and MAGA world is pissed off, talking about taxpayer, they're wasting taxpayer dollars and this and that. Y'all don't give a shit about taxpayer dollars. Y'all voted a billionaire into office, and that billionaire is bringing all of his billionaire buddies, and they are all sitting around the table laughing at taxpayers here in the United States as they plot and plan how they are going to get all of the tax dollars into their pockets. This is how I envision them sitting behind closed doors, salivating as they go over all of the budgets and the balances and in the accounts that belong to the United States. They're salivating, can't wait to get their hands on every last red cent as they pillage every last dollar that belongs to us, the taxpaying citizens. They're drooling, can't wait to get their money, their hands on all of our dollars. So Dark Brandon said, bitch, start over from scratch. Get your plan together, take it before Congress, and it ain't gonna be easy, because for as much as they think and they say that they have a mandate from the American people, no, the numbers between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris has dwindled. There is a 3-4 seat difference between Democrats and Republicans in the House. Baby, it's going to be a battle royale. And I love that for the Trump administration. And the MAGA nuts, oh yeah, they not happy. They really are not happy about what Dark Brandon just did. This is a report from Fox News.
Border scraps for sale and on the cheap, indeed. In their last weeks, the Biden administration is set to auction off sections of the border wall before President Trump takes office. Minimum opening bid starts at $5 for 20 tons of taxpayer-funded steel. Talk about a steal. William Lajeunesse has got the story in L.A. William, hello.
Good morning, Bill. You know, this has been a debacle from the very beginning when President Biden stopped construction of the border wall on his first day in office, abandoning millions of tons of steel. So where is it now? Well, huge sections we found yesterday being trucked away from the border, being sold as scrap for pennies on the dollar. Even though President Biden knows the incoming administration wants this material, he is selling it. Hundreds of tons of state-of-the-art finished steel wall for almost nothing at auction sites like this one near Tucson, meaning taxpayers will likely pay twice for the same stuff. Now, the Biden team already sold most of an estimated $350 million worth of lights, wires, and these expensive steel bollards. According to the government auction site that they're using now, Biden is taking bids starting around $5 for each 40,000-pound lot of finished steel.
That's just a slap in the face, not just to the agents that are out there working, to the American public as a whole. They could have just left these panels alone.
So last year, we know the Biden administration sold about 700 of these 30-foot steel segments for roughly $200 a piece, meaning taxpayers took a loss of about $10,000 for each bollard. Now, President Trump installed 455 miles of wall. Another 250 miles was under construction when Biden stopped the project, refusing even to fill in the gaps in the fence that border agents begged him because the migrants were coming through. I found this pile of materials near Yuma about 3 years ago.
Message to the White House right now. I will bid on all of that wall, and we will buy it in Texas, and we will give it to Donald Trump.
They're sabotaging the incoming administration. Won't make it difficult for us, but you know what? We're going to get this done.
So after our report last night, the auction site took down those web pages and appeared to cancel the sale of hundreds of tons of steel that was scheduled for next Wednesday. As to who okayed this bill,
now, the reporter went on to say that he had reached out to the Biden administration to inquire on who approved this whole thing, dismantling the wall and then packaging it up and selling it on the auction site for $5 for however many tons or pounds of steel. And the response that he got from Joe Biden and his administration was, we don't know who approved it. I can tell you what happened. Joe Biden blacked out and Dark Brandon took over. Dark Brandon said, sell that shit. Let them start from scratch. Now I understand that it's a loss to the taxpayers. I understand that. I'm a tax-paying citizen. But sometimes it's about the principle. And Joe Biden said, fuck Donald Trump and that damn wall.
I'm really starting to regret my vote.
Don't pretend you didn't know it was going to be like this. Everyone knew.
Wasn't expecting him to be anti-cancer funding.
They weren't supposed to turn on me. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my Visit shop.francesca.net to get your leopards.
Woo, and we finished on a very strong note, pun intended. I wanted it to be that way because there is a sort of dark humor in this, and if you can't laugh about it, I don't know, it's slightly comical. But you can see all these things that are changing, and he's not even in office yet, sadly. Definitely comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me your guys' thoughts, what videos you would like to see, any specific topics that I didn't include here. Yeah, see you on the next one.